This is Dating Badly with Kristen Strange and Taylor Bell.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Dating Badly. I'm Kristen Strange.
And I'm Taylor Bell.
And this week we are talking about why dating as a millennial is hard. It's obviously so much harder now, I feel like, than our parents' generation or even, 10 years ago when you were going to meet somebody. There's so many new things in the world and, new trends that make it more difficult. And I think the biggest one that comes to mind is just, 20 years ago when my parents met like 40 years ago. But when they met, they didn't have cell phones. So it's like when my mom went home, she called my dad on a landline to say goodnight and they hung up and they were done talking until the next day when they saw each other. And it's like, nowadays we're all in constant communication with each other. We're constantly on our phones. You have email, you have texting, you have Snapchat, you have Instagram, you have if you're, any other messages that you use, it's like there's so many ways to get in contact with someone that you have an expectation there of always being in contact.
Yeah, the constant communication is something that I think we want our partner, or we want the person that we're talking to do.
Yeah.
But
it's almost like reinforcing, if he texts me back right away, he really likes me.
Yeah, it's really true. And I think there's no understanding, or there's a lack of flexibility when someone doesn't text you back right away. I think the expectation is that they need to text you back right away or within an hour. There's so many memes out there. It's like you took forever to text back, and then you expect the person to just text you back right away, within 5 minutes. Or you're like, oh no, I'm going to jump to conclusions that they don't like me anymore because they didn't text me within 5 minutes.
Right.
I think that because we're always on our phones, we really expect people to get back to us somehow, some way. And there's just no room to, we interpret a gap in communication as simply they don't like me. And it kind of fuels anxiety and insecurity. And we just don't know how to deal with silence. Yeah, I think we have to be stimulated somehow, and I don't know. It's a good and bad thing. I don't know.
I feel like I'm pretty detached from not super detached from my phone. Obviously, I'm on it all the time. But as far as expecting responses right away, I don't ever have that expectation. Especially, I don't feel like I have that expectation for anybody, but especially when you get to know somebody, you kind of know what their schedule is. You kind of know, what their life is. Yeah. And I don't ever have that expectation, but I know, just talking to friends and being so here's my issue, or I've been dating this guy, this is what happened. Them being oh, he didn't text you back right away, or he didn't, it's everybody's well, he's not interested, or you should not talk to him anymore because he's not texting you back right away. It's no, but I feel I don't know, I guess being oh, you have 24 hours to text me back, it seems not a super crazy thing, but to some people it's oh no, if you're not texting me back within 10 minutes, it's done.
And let me tell you, I'm a bad texter.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible texter.
100%, that's true.
It's very hard for me to text, and I'm more of a caller. I like to call. Texting is difficult, and there's so much to read into, especially when you're texting. It's they used, is it hey with exclamation point? Is it hi with smiley face? Traditional smiley face, no emoji. There's so much things to consider when you're texting someone, and it's just so hard. Constant communication is a difficult thing, but I think it's also good because you're able to get some instant gratification sometimes right away. So
but we're at a generation that's relying on instant gratification now.
I think so too. I really do. And I don't know how we can really change that, but I think it's something that it's good and bad. It is good and bad.
I think that it's one of those things where you have to decide with the person. You can't be oh yeah, every guy I date has to text me back within an hour.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely not.
People have jobs and people have lives, and regardless of how far you are into a relationship, I don't care if you've been together, 6 months or 10 years, it's like you can't ever expect somebody to constantly be on their phone.
Yeah.
Like we have other things where we are trying to be present with people when we're with them.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to date somebody that was constantly texting me back right away because I'm like, where's your life?
That's, oh my gosh, totally true. It's like, wow, like I didn't text you back for 2 hours and then all of a sudden you're right texting me back.
I mean, that's fine
like,
sometimes.
oh
it's like, oh, if you're just relaxing and you text me back, great. But also, like, you need to have another life outside of somebody.
True.
There should be an expectation that they're not always going to get back to you. Now,
Right.
if they just are blatantly ignoring you,
that's one thing.
That's something different. But
yeah, I think the way to handle that, I think the way to handle that though, especially like if you find yourself getting kind of irritated or agitated with, someone's not constantly texting you back, you've got to learn how to, the solution is to kind of like control yourself and your own expectations going into things. Don't rely on this person 100%. Like you should not rely on people 100% to make you happy. Especially if you're just meeting them. It's different, I'm sure, in different stages of people's lives, but don't rely on this person to give you something right away. Like, there is a line in which, it goes from just, giving them ample time to respond to like, okay, this is like completely rude.
And I feel like I'm guilty of kind of doing the opposite of everybody else, like trying to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And when they don't respond in, however long, if it's been 24 hours, it's like you had time within 24 hours to text me back. You did. But I feel like I'm guilty of just giving everyone the benefit of the doubt for that.
And I've gone the other way. I've actually been someone who's like, they didn't respond in the time that I wanted, but I feel like I gave ample time, and it may have been like 8 hours. I'm just like, I've already jumped to my conclusion and been like, you know what, block, or I don't know, like, just like it's done with.
I will say though, you put effort in things that you're interested in. So
that's true.
It's like, you might have a crazy life, a busy job, but in 8 hours, it's not unrealistic to say you should have had time to respond to this text from this girl you like. Just to say like, hey, thanks for reaching out, or thanks for whatever you said. I'm really busy right now. Can I text you tomorrow or Thursday or Friday or whatever the day that you're like, that's fair. If you're really interested in someone, you do something like that. And if you're not, then you just don't respond, and that's probably the sign.
I think the constant communication becomes the constant communication is only a problem because it affects our expectations. It alters our expectation of what is appropriate and like how to really communicate with someone. That's where it becomes a problem, because it's like we're constantly doing it. Why aren't you doing it? And it's like we don't have that we don't give the person the benefit of the doubt when appropriate, and we just get so nervous and insecurity and anxious, and it's like that's something that's really ruining it, actually. And I mean, another way that we're keeping in contact is social media, and that just brings like a whole nother level into how we're dating now. It's like you can not go on a date with, you can like have never met someone before and already know like where they went to college, like where they went to high school, who their best friends are, and like it's a whole background check on that person.
Last week.
It's so true, because I think I've said before, is like when I'm on online dating and people have their social media accounts and they put it out there, I like it sometimes and I like it not, because then I go immediately to their Instagram account and I'll look at like how active they are on their account and see their pictures, and I'll start formulating judgments about them. And that's why I don't provide my own Instagram account, because I feel, first of all, it's personal, and I really don't want to just be giving, like if I'm on Bumble and I have an Instagram account and then people are swiping and we may not even match, but they're going to be snooping on my page.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great if you want followers, so I recommend it if you want followers, but I think it's like a personal thing, and people will judge you and like they have access to you. It's kind of a little personal, even though my Instagram is public. I don't know. It's a little tricky.
I totally agree with you, and I am 100% guilty of stalking. Not like aggressively, but just like wanting to find, because I don't like being surprised on dates, I want to know things about people. I like to know what I'm getting into, and I like to kind of know a little bit about this person aside from what they're saying. Just a little verification.
It's true, but it then also feeds that like, oh, they only have 18 followers or whatever it is. They're not verified or whatever the things that we put, these superficial things on people. Oh, like they're not living the cool life, and it's very shallow. I mean, it's not always shallow. I want to clarify, because it does give you an inside look to a person, but it could definitely guide you in the wrong way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think that's a thing. And also I think about social media, going back, kind of like tying into communication thing and having access to the fact that we're always constantly communicating, which makes it difficult for us when we're dating, is because if someone happens to go on their phone and they don't text you back, like you can sometimes tell through Instagram, because you can see active at like 4 p.m. or whatever it is. But, you know, I sent you that text message at 3:30. So clearly you have access to your phone. You have time to look at Instagram. You just don't have time to text me back.
My biggest pet peeve, and I don't like to match with guys on Instagram, or like I don't like to connect with them on Instagram. However, I will connect with them on Snapchat, because like my Snapchat's private and I feel like it's a little bit more, it's just not as exposing, I feel like, as my Instagram is. Yeah. So I like to add guys, or have guys, like, we'll add each other on Snapchat.
Wait, so when do you add them on Snapchat? Do you, on, like, if you're on a dating site and like you're like, hey, or like what do you mean?
I don't know, like sometimes, it depends. Sometimes because whenever you get their phone number, you pop up as like someone that they might know through their phone number. So like,
on Snap?
Yeah. Usually guys add me on Snapchat, and I'm just like, all right, I'm into it, because I'm not like super active on Snapchat, but I am enough. But my biggest pet peeve will be like texting somebody, and like I'll have that day posted a Snapchat story, and then seeing that after I texted them, they viewed my Snapchat story, but they still have not responded to my text. I'm like,
that's horrible.
Okay, well, why are you like, just respond to my message first, like, or I've had guys like where I would text them and they wouldn't text me back, but they would Snapchat me about something else, and then we'd be Snapchat chatting back and forth. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, why are we not just, can we just talk on one medium so I can get my thoughts clear?
That's crazy. I mean,
and then on Snapchat, sometimes I like to send messages on there when I feel like it's more important, because I can tell if you actually read it.
On Snapchat?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Because it'll tell you if someone opened it.
It's a long time. But, that's true. It's true. Gosh, I haven't posted it. I have not posted a lot on Snapchat. I have been MIA, which maybe I need to get going on it. But like, also with social media, it's really a problem. I mean, again, everything has its pros and cons, but social media, I think, is a real huge hindrance in many ways to why like it's just difficult for us to be dating as a millennial, because I do think you judge not only their photos, but then you can monitor their activity as far as who they're liking, like what photos they're liking, and if a guy likes a girl's photo, and it's really like social media is not just about social media. We're curating things. We're doing things that we like. We're following accounts that we like, but it's an expression of yourself. I think it's becoming your brand. It's becoming more than that. So we put a lot more weight into social media. And so, with all the competing, like everything's competing for your attention, and there's like a bunch of naked girls out there, like guys out there, you know, it's like, it really does foster like insecurity, I think, because people are always on there and liking things. You are looking
for validation on whatever you think about someone.
And a lot of times that's a place where people kind of cheat too, or like kind of like emotionally kind of drift away from their partner. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's something that makes it difficult. Like it's like a secret thing. I don't know.
I mean, Instagram ended my last relationship.
Really?
Yeah, because I found out on Instagram that he had another girlfriend.
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you this too, but Instagram can also serve you great too, because that served in your favor. I don't know how you found out by that.
100%.
Was it private or what?
Yeah, so I was like a little bit sneaky about it, but that was like, but also like you're trying to hide something from me. Like we had been together for a really long time, and
that's insane.
Then I found out he had another girl.
Wait, was it private? The account was private?
Yes.
And so how did you find out that?
This is a story for another time.
Another day. Okay, because I will just say this too. I've had a situation like that, but his was public, and he was trying to. We had just met the night before, and I just looked. He didn't give me his Instagram, but I looked him up because he was supposed to be some like up and coming singer or whatever.
Yeah.
And I looked him up, and literally 3 pictures. Okay, so you have like 1, 2, 3. I see his some girl there, and it's like, happy birthday to my baby, and it's like they're married. They're
Oh, wow.
married. Okay,
Good
so
thing you found out.
I eventually called him out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he came up with a lie, which is a we'll talk about that different day.
For both of us, Instagram helped us dodge a bullet.
Right. It's just that, social media in general is difficult, like for other for not just dating reasons, but also like just as a person, and then like keeping your self-esteem and all that. And I think it just complicates dating.
Oh, totally.
It really does.
And then when you are dating somebody and you feel like you're in a good place and there's all this trust, I feel like there's pressure to be like, okay, so like, are we like Instagram official? When do I post a picture of them? Like,
that's just our culture now. Yeah. And also it's just like, it could be going great, but then you snoop. It lends itself to snooping. Yeah. So you could see that the guy likes one picture of some girl, and
it
it's
could
like,
be his cousin.
Yeah, and then you start, because I've dug very deep. Like, I'm like, who is this girl? Like, how many?
I'm not even afraid to admit it.
It's like, one thing I'll do is, like, if I see that he likes a picture, just some guy that I'm into, I see that he likes a picture of some girl, I go to her page to see if it's they follow each other. Because if they follow each other, and then I look in his likes, okay, I'm sure you girls have done this, okay, you look in his likes and you see, oh, does she like the photo? Yeah. And then you go and to her page, if it's
I'm totally on the same page.
Then you're like, wow. So clearly, because girls are messy,
and we're not crazy.
No,
because I don't know anybody that doesn't do this.
No, so what I'm saying is not foreign to you, right? No. And then you stress out about it.
Yeah.
And this could be for a guy that is really not your guy, but is your guy that's not your guy. You know what I'm saying?
I think and especially because I feel like so many of us have been burned before. It's like you almost want to prevent it now. It's like I want to make sure that you're a good guy before we get too far, because I don't want what happened the last time to happen again. So like I'm trying to avoid another catastrophe.
Yes.
And so I feel like, especially for me, like I am so much more cautious about it. And so I sometimes do like search out a guy a little bit more, because I want to make sure that they are who they say that they are, and that like I'm not going to get blindsided 5 years down the road again.
Yeah. I just think, social media is definitely, it has like changed the way that we, I think, interact and date for sure.
For sure. And I have a rule though, that no men go on my social media. Like I won't post a picture of me and a guy. Like we're probably... Honestly, I will probably have to be almost engaged to somebody before I post a picture.
You know what's funny?
Because I don't want to have to go through having to delete them.
I know. You know what's funny? I heard some guy on say this. He was like, I will never post of me and my significant other. They're going to find... And she goes, the girl he was talking to, like, just in conversation. I was like, why not? And he's like, yeah, I just don't... My family will find out. People will find out, like, when we're literally married. Like, 2 weeks after the wedding. It's like, yep, we're together. Like,
that's kind of my approach right now.
Yeah. And it's so crazy, like, how it works. Yeah. I don't know. But
I guess we'll have to see if me and my next boyfriend are, like, super picture perfect, and we need to post a picture of it on Instagram.
And, they say that, there is a thing, and I'm sure it's been bounced around. It's like a theory. I'm sure that's not, like, uncommon, is that they say that if you post constantly on social media as a couple, like, it's a little like...
You're not great. You're not
doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, you're oversharing. It's a little... I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're really excited, but maybe there's an insecurity there.
Like, I need to have this everywhere so that the other girl that he's talking to can find me.
Or like it's insecurity, like you just want to, reassure yourself everything is cool, so you just kind of do this all the time. Like, I don't know. But social media it allows you to have so many options, but I also think that's an issue. Another real reason why dating is really difficult is because we have way too many options, or not too many, but we just have a lot of options as daters. You have so many options, and it
feels like you have, because you literally have the world at your hands right now. True. And I get in a fight with somebody, and then they're just like, oh, we're in a fight, so I might as well just go out with someone else. Like, it's everything is so disposable, because 10 minutes after that person leaves, you can be on Bumble or Hinge or something else and find someone else to date.
Yeah.
It's like it takes 30 seconds and then you're matched with somebody and you can start talking to them.
Yeah. And it's so sad because you know, I don't know if it was like this in the olden days where like when you break up with someone, you take your time to like deal with it and then you move on and you're like come ready to date and you're in a relationship and you've left that baggage and you're good and you're ready and you're not distracted. But I think here I've met so many guys. I've met guys on Bumble or whoever, and I kind of end up as that in between girl where they've just gotten out of a relationship and literally maybe 2-3 weeks, and they're like just kind of like looking to just kind of
casually
have some fun. A lot of casual dating. Like I cannot tell you how many times I have seen on a like Bumble profile just what are you looking for? Casual, something casual. I don't know.
Men.
Like I don't know if they see girls who are looking for that too, but they feel comfortable. The fact that they feel comfortable just saying they want something casual. I mean, it's okay if you do, but I think that's just in our culture, it's understood that people can have casual sex and can be casually dating, and that's okay, and you can go out and solicit for it. But at the end of the day, there is it's just like you just kind of are tossing through people like playing cards.
But yeah, no one has to. You don't have to have a long attention span to date somebody. You don't have to like meet somebody.
Yes.
And it's almost like the prospect of, oh, there's something out there's always something shiny and new out there for me.
Right.
And especially with all the fake profiles, if you think about like guys are seeing all these like beautiful girls.
Oh my gosh.
And then they're like, oh yeah, I totally have a shot with her because she's on the app.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, and girls do the same thing, I'm sure. Like, oh, I totally have a shot with this guy because he's on the app. When in reality, it's probably a fake profile. But also,
hopefully
it's like
not.
there was a stat, and I don't know what it is, but I'll bring it next time. That like 1 in 4 or something profiles on online dating were fake.
And you know, I think I can spot them too because they're like, especially with guys, like they have usually nothing going on in the profile. It's just like these modeling in LA, especially. I feel like it's like fake McGake.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I feel like maybe the reason that we think this way is because we do live in LA, and I feel like just the overall, like not even in dating, but just the overall mentality of this city is that everyone's searching for the next best thing. Like, regardless of what, it's a new job, the next best job, the next best this, the next best that, everyone's searching for the next best thing. So obviously you're searching for the next best person, you know.
Yeah, it does encourage you to be a little bit more shallow because you're looking for someone that has everything. Because before you might take the time to get to know someone, grow to get to know someone, because you're like, you know what, I don't know, I haven't been on a date in a while, I don't know when I'm gonna go on another date, like give it a shot. You're more open. I think you're actually more open-minded maybe beforehand, but I think now because you have everything is catered to you, you can find things that are catered to you, your kind of expectation, there is no kind of budging in your expectations. You can kind of just
you can search for exactly
find the guy with the right height, with the right builds, with the right job, with the right thing, and the right this, and so it's cool, but it's also like a little sad. I don't know, like
and you can set filters to make sure, like you know, you don't see anybody that's not looking for this or not looking for that. It's like you really do have the unlimited ability to meet people. Right,
which is like, you know, you can miss out on a lot of great people that way. At the same time, it does work. You know, it's again, always pros and cons, but like, you know, I think that's what the issue is. But it's so different
from, you know, before when you didn't really have these options available, that you would just, you know, people wanted to stay more in relationships because it wasn't like you had the world at your fingers, you know. It's like I could meet somebody in London right now and on an online dating app if I wanted to. It's like
I could meet someone tomorrow night. Like, you know, it's just so simple. You can be talking to like 5 people at one time, you know, and like be juggling these people.
Totally. I also think one of the big things is that there's so much gray area. There's no definition in relationships, and it takes so much longer to get to that definition. Like, I feel like when I first started dating in like high school, it was like we went on 2 dates and we were boyfriend and girlfriend. That might just be high school.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why can't that be my life now? Or like it just happened, you know. Now I feel like I could literally date someone for 6 months and still have no idea what we're doing or where it's going. And it's like that's so normal.
It's sad it is normal. And
it's so normal to be like, well, I don't want the emotional aspect of it. I just want the sex aspect. So we're going to be friends with benefits.
Right.
Or, you know, like we said before, situationships, or we're going to be no strings attached, or like maybe, you know, we're into like, we're poly and we're like looking for other relationships,
or we're in an open relationship.
Exactly.
There's so many. I think especially in online dating, it surprises me the amount of guys that actually are just looking for
relationships.
Well, they're in relationships.
Yeah, there was another stat that I read that said that like this one was like crazy. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was like 46% of guys on online dating are already in relationships. So either they're in open relationships and they're looking for someone else, or they're just cheating.
I wonder, when you say open relationships, are they kind of like in a what we've defined many times as just kind of like that casual situationship
type
of thing?
Like,
I think maybe
I would consider an open, like I think an open relationship is something different. An open relationship would be something that's where you are dating a guy, you are together, but you
like
agree.
Exclusive. Oh, well, no, obviously not exclusive,
but you
like,
agree. Like you guys are an item. But, like, oh, this is my boyfriend, but you agree to also, like, see other people.
That is something. I'll just say that, because I don't know.
You know, any kind of situation like that is on, like, it's such a trend right now.
When I've been on online dating, I've only had one guy, or I've only had one guy say he was in an open relationship, and then, like, tried to talk to me, and then I've seen like maybe one or two other people who say in their profile that they're in open relationships, but for the majority of the part, I see a lot of guys who are just like, they want something casual, or they don't even mention their motives or anything like that.
If they want something casual, a lot of those guys are probably also in relationships.
I don't think so. I think
the
it's
statistics
different.
are not on your side.
No. I think the statistics make me a little weary. I think there are guys out there, the majority of guys, in my opinion, just on my experience, I think the majority of guys that I've like talked to or dated, they don't want anything serious. They're not in a relationship. They just don't want anything serious. And I find that, you know, I'm sure a lot of girls go through this, because there was a song that I remember hearing. It's called In Between Lovers. And it was just basically how she was saying, like, I'm just tired of being like that, like an in-between lover, you know, like someone who, like, you know, you're just dating and then you're like,
I totally feel that.
So many women and people fall into that category.
And I feel like
especially on online dating,
so many times that I've dated guys that are like, seem to be relationship guys. Like, for a while, I dated like a guy that got out of a 5-year relationship, then a guy that got out of a 6-year relationship, then a guy that got out of like a 3-year relationship. And it's like, everybody that I seem to date seems to be relationship guys, which kind of puts me at ease to be like, okay, they're not just looking for that next best thing. But then, like, it doesn't work out with us.
But you know what? That, to me, when a guy says, I just got out of, like, a 4-year relationship, to me, that's a red flag. It's
but even if it was, like, 6 months ago, but that was just, like, their last experience.
Like, so if a guy said, like, oh, I got out of a 4-year relationship.
But I haven't dated at all.
But I haven't dated at all, and it's been 6 months since that's happened.
Yeah.
I would ask him, like, oh, so, like, really, what is your intention? Because I would think, like...
But I think a lot of times, like...
You think you can bounce back? I don't know if, like, some people are relationship... I think women maybe are more... And this is just an assumption. I think women are more able to be, like, get out of a relationship. Like, I mean, look at Ariana Grande, for crying out loud. She goes from, like, one... She is, like a serial relationship girl where it's like boom, 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 boom. I mean, after what Mac Miller, you know.
Yeah.
All right, you know.
R.I.P.
Like, I didn't want to just say it. After Mac Miller, it was like immediately Pete Davidson a month later.
And engaged. She went real serious. Yeah, I mean, know? I feel like, I guess, maybe they do, because I don't have a problem with it. Like, I feel like, I mean, it's...
Like guys coming out of relationships and then 6 months later.
Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I would, like, 3 months after my relationship ended, I started dating somebody, and I was like, I could do this. Like, this is great. I mean,
Yeah.
in retrospect, like, he obviously wasn't the right person for me for many reasons, one of which being our political views were just so very different that I don't think we could have ever come to an agreement
Yeah.
there. But, I mean, he was a nice guy. But, like, I was like, oh, that last relationship is over. I'm done. I've moved on, and I, like, had no feelings about it whatsoever. So, I don't know. Maybe we can maybe we're just more hardcore than them.
I think that.
I mean, we already know that, but.
I mean, hello. But yeah, like, I don't know. I think that's something to this gray area is just like so common, and
I think one of the other things, the last thing that is, we all know about being a millennial is they call us the most self-centered generation, which is true.
I think there's a bit of narcissism there.
Yeah, but also I feel like that creates, like, it comes out in dating, you know, people just
for sure,
we're like jaded about dating. We have all these expectations and we think that we're entitled to things, and it's like you're very, like, we're all very self-centered, that you don't have to feel pain about causing someone else pain. It's like you just block them.
Or you ghost them.
Yeah, or you ghost them. It's like,
that's horrible. We should. I mean, that's first of all, that's a whole different subject I want to talk about, because ghosting is completely. I mean, then again, I've done it, but like
I think that there's situations that it's okay, and I mean, they say so. 26% of women have ghosted someone versus 15% of men. I think that the men were lying in this survey, but I mean, I've ghosted someone, but I feel like I ghost people before I meet them. Or, like, after date one.
Yeah. I mean,
but if we're going to go on a second date, I'm going to tell you I don't want to see you again.
You will say that. You will say, like, you're going to go on the second date.
No, I won't say we're going to go on a second date. But, like, if I agree to go on a second date, I obviously want to go out with you again. I'm not just going out with you for the fun of it. But after the second date, if I was like, oh, no, like, I'm going to tell you I don't want to see you, I feel like there's just, like, a respect there. I mean, I haven't ghosted someone after the first date before, but I just feel like there's a respect there that after 2 dates, you should be telling somebody that look, I had a great time getting to know you, I just don't think we're a good match. That's all you need to say.
You know what? It's true. It's true. And you know what?
If some guy said that to me, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah. You know what? And you got to be a big girl to take it, because I have taken it wrong. There was a guy that I had. It's not. It's a form of rejection. It is, and it's difficult. And I remember I had a guy. He was great, and he went to, like, Louisiana on a vacation, and he called me up, like, out of nowhere after a week and was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" He just acted like everything was cool. He was such a gentleman, and then he's like, "You know what? I was on this trip in Louisiana, and I just want to say that, like, after just kind of being there, I just realized that maybe we're just, like, two different people. Like, we just have two different, maybe, like, I don't think we're, like, a real match. And I just wanted to call you and tell you." And literally I was like, huh? And then I just hung up. I handled it poorly, because I was like, I think I was more hurt than anything.
Especially when it kind of comes out of the blue like that.
Yeah, I was expecting him to call and be like, hey, like, what are you doing? And he calls to let me down. Yeah. And reject me.
I mean, I appreciate that he said that to you. But
yeah, it was actually, in hindsight, I think that was great, but I think he could have handled that. Maybe a text would have sufficed.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But in that case, I mean, but that shows the balls of him and the gentleman, like, aspect of him to do that, you know, to, like, to call me and say that. And I've also done it to a guy too, where I just felt like I texted him, and then he called me. So I texted him, I said, look, I don't think this is going to work out. We're two different people. And then he's like, can I call you? So we talked about it. And
that's fair. I was dating this guy once, and he calls me and he's like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, okay, I'm good. He's like, so I just wanted to, like, tell you what happened. And, like, kind of talk with you about something. And I was like, oh, my God, he's going to break up with me over the phone. Yeah. And at this point, I think we had been on 2 dates. So I'm like, oh, my God, this is horrible. He goes, so I was just, I was meeting up with a girl. Or, no, he was going to meet this girl. So I just wanted to tell you, like, I'm going to meet up with this girl. And I thought, oh, God, he's going to tell me that he's seeing somebody else. Or, like, what's going on here? And he's like, I have been seeing her before I met you, and we had been on, like, 3 dates, and I haven't seen her since I met you, but we already had these plans tonight, and I'm gonna tell her tonight that I we're meeting up for pizza, and I'm going to tell her tonight that I'm seeing you because I kind of want to see where things go with you. So I'm going to tell her that I am not going to see her anymore. So I just kind of wanted to like let you know.
Interesting. I don't know how I would feel about that.
And I was like, you're going to tell her in person?
Yeah, like
and
that's
he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. I'm like, great. Like, thanks for telling me. You obviously didn't need to tell me that you were breaking up with some girl because you want to date me. Like, I appreciate that, I guess.
Yeah, why would he tell you that? He
I
could
don't
have
know.
just done it and like.
And then told me maybe like 6 months later.
But he also, like, when you guys were official, you can laugh about it.
And then I told him, like, by the way, like, the next time I saw him, like, because I asked, like, well, how did it go? Yeah. He's like, it didn't go great. She didn't take it well. And I'm like, yeah. I could have told you she wasn't gonna. That's something you do over text. And I'm like, just like for future reference, if you ever want to break up with me or like don't want to see me at any point, just a text is fine.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Like, it's really simple. Like, I don't know why that's really bad.
I know. And
that's
he was like, yeah, she didn't even stay for pizza. I'm like, can you blame her?
What did you think was going to happen? I was going to go there and say, I don't want to see you anymore after this, but let's still get pizza. It's like, of course. I didn't like that. No. That's like not a good idea for that guy.
I mean, his approach to many things was not correct. But I mean, whatever. Yeah. Gotta love him.
It's crazy. It's good. I don't always like tell guys, that things are going downhill, but like it is nice when
I think it should be expected.
It should be. I know.
After a certain point, like I said, I think 2 dates is fine. Like after a certain point. Date 1, fine. You don't want to see me again, just go away and don't talk to me. But I don't care. Yeah. But after that point, like, you owe me some sort of
point. Yeah, like because it's like maybe it's a time investment thing. It's like we know each other, but to just because that's sad to leave someone hanging. Like the first date, because that first date is still like a
you shouldn't have any expectations.
It's
right?
like just sort of like we're just kind of testing and like we haven't taken off anywhere yet. So it's still time for you to ditch and
unless you slept with them on the first date, in which case you probably should.
That's true too. Yeah. That's true too, because that I'm gonna tell you like because especially as women, when you do sleep on the first date, it's like it's a thing. Like at least for me, it's a thing because I feel like
I would expect like if I do sleep with you on the first date and unless we had agreed like, hey, we're not really gonna date, but like let's just have sex, unless that was like
which is. I don't know who does that.
Yeah, I don't.
But if
I've never done that. But
fine.
if there was some sort of understanding, then fine. Yeah. But like if you're just having a date and then it's going great and then you sleep together, it's like okay. At that point, if it's the first date, then you do need to tell me you don't want me to see me again after.
Yeah. Or I think the expectation though is it's like okay, we slept together and like as a girl, I think you think okay, he has to if he's interested, he'll text me. Otherwise, the silence is already a no.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, totally.
So I think, but yeah, I think also when you said like self-centeredness in general, though, it's because I think that's where that self-centeredness comes into play. Like I don't owe this person anything. It's about me and what they're what they're doing for me.
Or I'm so self-centered that this is going to make me uncomfortable, and I don't want to be uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's like sometimes you have to do things that are like the
right thing is usually the hardest.
Yeah,
thing.
I've had to tell guys through text that I don't want to see them again, and I feel like I try and approach it in the right way and like say something nice and it's not ever usually about them, but it's just like I feel like I owe you that, especially like after there's just a point where you do feel like you owe someone.
That's true.
It's not about your relationship. It's just like human decency.
Because I did tell
common courtesy.
Exactly. It's about respecting humans. And I think that we don't respect each other as much in this culture. I think it's just like the fact that you can just drop someone, and especially if you can see they're a little sensitive or whatever, like it's like you shouldn't do that.
And it's like I feel like you have to think about it, like you never know someone's story. So, especially for me, like I feel like it hurts me more because like when I found out that guy had another girlfriend that wasn't me for the last 5 years, then when I approached him about it, he just disappeared. And it's like, that was 5 years of my life that just disappeared. And so I am kind of sensitive if you because I feel like I at least would have been owed an explanation as to why this all happened. Yeah. And I got no answers.
People just, like you said, they just like run away and they leave you hanging. Exactly. And they don't really but they don't understand. They don't deal with the consequences of their actions,
Right.
and they just kind of worry about themselves. And I think self-centeredness can also, like, you know, even play a hand in like how people treat you, even when you're in a relationship too. Like,
Yeah.
I think that there could be self-centered tendencies. Like we kind of just make it about us a lot,
Right.
In the relationship, and that can really affect how people. Even how successful the relationship is.
Yeah.
You know, like not considering the other person. I think we kind of talked about that in the situationship. Like, I think that can be sometimes very self-centered.
Yeah.
You know, and not being able to be considerate of another person's feelings, not being
Mm-hmm.
honest with them, you know, letting things go on too long because you're, at the end of the day, you're more interested in getting something from that person
Right.
than actually being honest with them.
Yeah.
So.
We should all be more interested in giving, guys.
Giving, yes. And it the pun intended. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that is it for this week's episode. You guys can find us on Instagram at Dating Badly, and you can find me at Kristen_Strange.
And you can find me at It's Taylor Bell.
We'll see you guys next week.